I'd love to get you guys' take on some of the post news charts that we're looking at here today. So maybe Miko, you could start us out. What are you looking at? Is there any chart that you're most interested right now?
Yeah, well, I'm currently trading CAD CHF. I was in it since Tuesday. It's been some consolidation, very, very annoyingly, but it looks like I think the news has played out in my favor. Starting to see some momentum to the downside,
Okay.
but overall, I'm quite bearish on the pair. We have a very healthy downtrend on multiple time frames for this one, as you can evidently see. So I'm still looking to see if I can catch that next wave to the downside. I've got a couple targets there for me, so I'm currently short on this one. There's a few other pairs that look okay, but they need a little bit of work. So I'm looking to short UAD if we can get a pullback, another low high. Looking for another down move. Pound Yen looking interesting, but I'm staying a little bit away from the pound pairs at the moment after news that just come out. NZD CAD, I'm looking to see if we can start breaking some new highs here. See a nice little break and retest. I'm looking at a very big bull flag on the daily chart here. Big impulse correction. Looking to see if we can come back into the highs. So if we can start taking out some highs here, for NZD CAD, which we may or may not do, but if we do, I'm interested on the retest. And NZD JPY, I'm looking to see if we can break out of this big consolidation. Recently, we had a confident daily candle closure above. Looks like we're coming back for the retest now. So I'm going to see what type of price action we can get in this area. If it's good, I'll look to go long. If not, I'll take a pause. Seen some nice bear momentum, but yeah, I need to wait for my confirmation before getting involved. So yeah, that's kind of the pairs I'm looking at predominantly right now.
It seems like Miko that you've got from the ones that you just mentioned, you've got a lot of short bias on the CAD right now, because you mentioned being short bias CAD CHF, which I've got a chart pulled up. I really like the way this one is looking. CAD CHF on the daily chart, and I want to add some commentary here, and then I'll ask Marco his thoughts on the CAD pairs as well. CAD CHF coming up into this level of resistance, as well as your idea on NZD CAD. One thing that I find very interesting is that if we examine the Canadian dollar here for a second, in terms of smart money, big money is very short on the CAD as well. In fact, in terms of, we could isolate the CAD for a second and just take a look at this. So what you can see is that the Canadian dollar has a 74% short ratio. So this is looking, of course, at the commitment of traders data. It's giving us insights as to how much, how many contracts are long, how many contracts are short, and percentage-wise, we've got 74% short on the CAD. So to your concept there, Miko, I think that's like some nice added confluence. You also mentioned NZD CAD, which I think is very interesting. If it pops through those highs, especially on like this 4-hour chart, there's that potential for just a nice trend continuation. So I like that as well. Marco, in terms of CAD pairs, do you have any that you're interested in, or is it not really something you're trading? What do you think? What are your thoughts?
Do you have any questions about any of our products or services? Right now, members of the A1 Trading team are standing by, waiting to assist you. You can head over to our website, a1trading.com, and click the icon in the bottom right-hand corner to chat with one of our team members live. You can also go to a1trading.com/contact and fill out the Contact Us form, and someone will get back to you shortly. We have our helpful and friendly members of our support staff ready to chat with you anytime Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So what are you waiting for? If you have any questions, feel free to chat with us live right now on the A1 Trading website.
Yeah, I don't trade any CAD pairs live, but just be looking at the price action. For this one, I would say it's kind of forming a possible cup and handle or V reversal in a range, so that's the same thing, but kind of wants to push up. So yeah, what I would wait is for a breakout to the upside, get some momentum, get some green candles, and then I would look for a nice entry setup like a flag or a break and retest. But again, it needs to break the upper level with conviction.
Yep. And Marco, feel free to share your screen if you have not already. I can't see if you have, but if you'd like to share your screen, you're welcome to take over if you have anything you're looking at. So yeah, no, I'm kind of with you on that with the sort of upward trajectory here. This pop above this, I think, could introduce sort of new buyers, especially against the Canadian dollar, which, as we mentioned, has that sort of wind in the sail, if you will, from the commitment of traders data that shows institutional money is very much stacked short. Miko, we had a big reaction today in terms of the PPI numbers. The dollar sold off initially. Do you have any dollar specific pairs that you're watching? Anything that you're interested in on the dollar?
Not really. To be fair. The DXY has been in a complete mess, to be fair, over the past few days, maybe a couple of weeks. Yeah, a few days. So overall, dollar's still pretty bearish. So I'm still seeing more downside for it. But in terms of me trading any dollar pairs, Euro USD looks like it might be breaking to the downside here. It's still got some little bit of support here, and it's a little bit corrective. For me, this type of breakout is not favorable. So if you can pick up some momentum and really start ripping to the downside, I'm looking at potentially a big reversal for Euro USD coming to some major highs up here. You can see multiple attempts there on the daily try and break through. Overall, it doesn't look like Euro USD is successful. So if you can start picking up some pace to the downside, start taking out a few more lows, then yeah, some pullbacks and some shorts do look good. Pound USD is still actually a little bit bullish. Still gives us some higher highs and high lows, but overall it's not really really confident bullish structure, so I'm not so keen to trade it. So I think Euro is at the top of the list for me, but it's got some work to do before I do anything with it.
Fair enough. And Marco, what do you think? Any dollar crosses? And we've got your screen now, so if you want to show us, we've got you on the thing. Cool.
So most of the dollar pairs I trade 3 of them: EU, AU, and GU, and most of them have been pretty range bound and slow on the 1 hour chart in the last, I would say, 3 months. So I'm seeing nothing. Possibly like a small descending here on EU, but just very corrective. I'm not seeing sustained momentum, so I'm just waiting for a large breakout to the upside or to the downside. Let me just grab my tools. So I'm just waiting for consecutive candles up and then an entry pattern or consecutive candles down. Also, the pound pair has been really corrective as well. And one thing I do notice for the pound is, well, it does like to range for a really, really long time, but once it does have a push, the push usually continues very nicely. So for me, all of them are very corrective. I'm mostly focusing on the Japanese pairs. So for me, for example, EJ right now looks very good. I'm getting this push down, descending here. I'm getting this sort of a pattern. For me, this is a very high probability to continue trending to a downside. So I'm definitely looking for a sell on most of the Japanese pairs. So my focus is mainly on the JPY.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was going to ask you next about the Japanese yen. So on that Euro yen, Marco, beautiful chart, clearly. Like it's sort of just waterfalling to the downside, which I'm pretty sure, you know, all 3 of us, we like those trending markets. We like those markets that are moving sort of fluidly like that. How would you enter a move like this on Euro yen? Like where, like, would you be waiting for a pullback up into, you know, like 147.5 area? How would you look to enter something that's already flowing like this to the downside?
Well, I would wait for a pullback, but it would not be price dependent. It would need to be a pattern, for example, a flag such as this one, a small one preferably, or for the price to just pull back a little bit, then break the low again and retest the low like this. And then I just look to sell, get in on the retest. So,
and how would you manage a stop loss with that as well? So like, I like your concept there. So you get like a very slight, like dead cat bounce kind of idea. It falls through the lows. You get in on the retest. How do you manage a stop in that case?
Well, I use a fixed stop loss for all of my trades and all of my pairs. Basically, let's say a break and retest entry would form here, then I would just put a 12 pip. So my entry would be on this level of the low, and my stop loss is always 12 pips. So I just put in a 12 pip stop, and then I use a trailing stop loss to follow the price as it continues down. So I never have a take profit. I just basically keep moving the stop loss on these minor highs, as you would. So really simple stuff, and it is about maximizing the winners and minimizing the losers, because that's what you want to have. So I do have, the win rate is very low. I have like a 30% win rate, but the average risk to reward is around 1 to 8. So I do wait for a long time for the big winners, but when they do come, they do usually explode to the upside or to the downside.
Yep, no, I can relate to that. I have a low win rate as well, and it can be tedious waiting for the big move, but when they happen, it can be very rewarding.
Yep.
So, Marco, you're watching the yen pairs. Miko, in terms of yen pairs, you mentioned some of the are you trading CAD yen? Are you looking at any yen crosses at all, or are you avoiding them?
No. Well, a few of them I'm avoiding, but NZJPY I'm looking at some buys because
Okay.
it looks like we are starting to break out of this high time frame resistance here on the daily at 85. So I'm basically looking to see if we can hold this area on the retest and then basically continue this momentum we've seen over the past few days back to some highs up there on the left. So as you can see, the market is incredibly bearish right now. Excuse me, incredibly bearish right now. So I need to wait for some entry confirmations at this level. I normally use the hourly time frame to get into my trades, and right now I'm not really getting much here. So if I see the market start bleeding through this, especially on the daily candle closure, if I see a daily candle closure back underneath this zone here, so today's candle, I will definitely it would be an invalid setup. So I need price to start developing again and getting back above the area. But I'm looking for some longs on the retest of this, for some buys in pound yen as well. I'm looking to see if we have some buys as well, but price is still a little bit sensitive from the news that we just had. So I'm waiting patiently for this one, but I've got some good confluence into this area. So I'm seeing if we can get a bounce from this 168, 100 mark. And then if we can get a good entry confirmation, some nice wicks to that zone, I'm looking for a move back to resistance. Overall, pound yen is still pretty bullish in higher time frame, still getting that bullish structure there. Yeah, confirmation is an important part of my trading. So we'll be waiting to see what we can do in this area. Right now, still spilling over, so we need to be patient. But yeah, if we start breaking through this confluence as well, if we start breaking through the support and the trend line as well, then I'll discard the pair too. I mean, it might mean that price actually wants to continue low and place a low high and actually reverse. In that case, I'll look for the bearish setup. But as of right now, the buys are still at play. You just need to wait for some confirmations. So those are the two yen pairs I'm looking at: NZJPY longs and pound longs as well.
Don't forget to check out the links in the description if you want our broker recommendation, access to our free Discord, free EdgeFinder, or want to chat with us on Telegram. Remember, you can watch us live in the markets every morning starting at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and we have lots more free trading tools and content available on our website, a1trading.com. Thanks for watching.